Hi, my name is Angie. Um, Growing up, I was always I was into God pretty much from the beginning. I went to Catholic school first through eighth. It was a little confusing. I wasn't allowed to ask any questions or anything. I had a lot of questions about Jesus and God, and um, I was. I was abused a lot growing up. There was a lot of mental, verbal, sexual abuse. Early on, I was really quiet. I was really sensitive, so I tended to cry a lot, get made fun of a lot. I got made fun of a whole lot all through school. Uh, I did have a mother and a father in the household, and my brother is 4 years younger than me. Um, okay, hold on.
Okay.
So going through school, I always wanted to obey, and I didn't ever want to get in trouble. Um, I always tried to be perfect, um, which was, it seemed pretty easy because I was quiet and I didn't say anything. Early on, I suffered migraines from, I remember first grade, suffering from migraines, and at a point to where I would vomit. So I was in the office a lot with migraines. Um, so that was something I had to also deal with that excluded me a lot from being quote unquote normal with the other kids. I was sheltered. So mostly my friends were my cousins, and I did have one friend growing up, and we became friends when I was in first grade. We're still friends today, which is pretty awesome. We don't talk a whole lot, but that is a relationship that I've maintained. I've through the years destroyed a lot of relationships. I went through something at the age of 12 that was very difficult for me and everyone around me. I won't go into detail about it, it's not necessary, but it made me really angry and upset. And it was me trying to behave and do everything and never seemed to benefit me. So I started to act out a little bit, just not anything too awful bad, I wouldn't think, until, I was in high school, and then I was a senior when I started to use cuss words and everything. I'll go back. I started drinking when I was 12 years old because of the events that had taken place and the previous abuse that I encountered. I remember having a cup that I would go and take a shot a day out of my mom and dad's liquor cabinet. It was whiskey, and I would put a shot of it so that they wouldn't recognize that there was any missing. And I would save it in a cup until Friday, and then I would chug it and then go skating. So that was I did that, and every weekend. So it just didn't seem to be a problem. It seemed to help me um, fit in more. I was just really, um, I was just trying to be normal. I just didn't, I just always felt weird and felt like I was invisible a lot of times. Um, so when I was in I'm a senior in high school when I started to act out really bad. I left home to go live with my boyfriend, which I ended up having two children with at the age of 17. And I barely graduated high school, but I made it and went on. I waited a little while and was drinking um, pretty consistent on the weekends. I was mainly a weekend drinker. Um, I remember thinking at the age of 15 that there was something wrong with the way I wanted alcohol so badly when everybody else around me could take it or leave it. I remember getting real like agitated and anxious, like trying to find somebody to get the alcohol. Um, so that was, I knew early on, I just didn't know what to call it. I didn't have a name for it, which now I know is alcoholism, alcoholic. Um, so uh, at the age of 21, I had my first son. And I didn't drink when I was pregnant with any of my kids. I have three. And I had my daughter, a year and a month and a week later. And I had postpartum with her, and it was really difficult. She was colicky. Um, I was, I would drink after I had my kids. I came home and I would drink. Um, it was amazing that I made it through the 9 months, but it didn't bother me. I wasn't, um, I didn't even think about it, being pregnant and all. I didn't think about it. But as soon as I had them, I wanted to continue to drink. And so I did. And I was, I was trying to be strong and be so I didn't know who I was. So I felt like the alcohol was helping me be who I wanted to be. It was a disguise, obviously. I would take them to church on Christmas and Easter. So that was, I didn't know because I, I was almost scared of religion. Being Catholic, it just didn't seem right. All the Catholics that I knew were drank and carried on and gambled. So that it was just confusing for me. I would take them to different churches. I didn't even realize how many different religions there were, and until later on. Um, I had my third son later in life when I was 37, and the day I brought him home, I was drinking, and that was, my daughter even. Um, I put her through a whole lot. I put all my kids through a lot, and that's what hurts the most. because I can't take it back. And our relationship is, I really don't have a relationship with any of them. Um, my oldest, I have a relationship, sort of. He lives in South Carolina, and I talk to him a little bit, but not a lot. It just doesn't, it seems strained. Um, I want to see him more and talk to him more. My daughter has guardianship of my 14-year-old, and uh, I miss them all so bad. He got taken away when I started using hard drugs. Uh, I started doing meth um, and lost him. Um, and so my daughter, she took guardianship of him. I I was so lost in everything, and that's the darkest my life got, was that time when he was gone, and I wasn't talking to any of my family. I really didn't have uh anybody to talk to. I managed to still keep a job, which I don't know how I did that, because I was a massage therapist, and I was getting high every day and drinking, and wasn't changing anything in my life. I still didn't feel like it was an issue. Um, I was trying to make excuses for it because I just felt like I needed it so bad to function, um, to face the world. Um, things were getting really rough around me. I was always paranoid, but when I was doing the drugs, I was extremely paranoid, and the people that I surrounded myself with didn't help the situation at all. Um, I felt like they were definitely not looking out for my best interest. They have no one to blame but myself. But I knew I needed to get out. But I just kept making excuses and excuses for the meth, and how it wasn't really affecting me that bad, and how I needed it. And but things just kept getting scarier and scarier. And so I called a friend of mine and told her I'm ready. I need some help. And she sent someone over, picked me up, and took me to a place. I wasn't there for very long, and I got kicked out for THC. So I was, still trying to get away with things. I was in trouble with the law because I was supposed to go to rehab, but I didn't. I got kicked, you know, I got, I left rehab, so I got a warrant out for my arrest. And in order to avoid it, I thought, instead of, because they wanted me to come in, and I didn't want to go in because I knew that they would put me in jail, and I did not want to go to jail. So I avoided it. I went to other rehabs because in my mind, I was thinking if I go to many rehabs, that they will not put me in jail. They will, mark that off as, she completed several rehabs, and that was my mindset. That's not exactly the way that they thought that that would go. um, I, it's crazy how distorted my thinking got. Um, uh, I was introduced to that in that place that I got kicked out of for THC. I was introduced to worship, and that was awesome. It was almost like my heart was hungry for Jesus and God, and so he just kept interceding in my life, and I didn't. I wasn't really paying attention, I don't think, because I was still clouded in all my thinking. Um, but the worship, I liked that, and I didn't realize because I grew up with traditional um, religious songs, and then when I was introduced to different worship songs, it was more of a variety of genre. Um, and that opened my eyes to, you know, this is something new, and I enjoyed it, you know. So on my adventure to trying to stay out of trouble, I went to, after I got kicked out of that one place, I went to another rehab, and I left there. I knew that I needed more time because I knew that 28 days was um, not enough for me to stay on the right path that I needed to stay on. So I looked, and I wanted, because God was talking to me in different ways. I was just, every time I would turn around, it was just something on Facebook or on YouTube or just in conversation in general. I would, it was always lead, it led right back to God. So I knew that I needed something more religious. I wanted almost a time out from the world to be able to concentrate and learn more about God and Jesus and the Bible, because I uh, didn't really know what thought I needed to know, and wanted to know. I had hunger inside of me. I remember being on meth and even talking to other people about Jesus, which is crazy to me, but it led me to where I'm at today. And today I'm happy with I'm not happy with the decisions I've made, but I'm happy with who I am today. And so I feel like I'm all over the place. So when I was wanting to go uh, to a religious rehab, I the first one that I saw was Crossroad, and I called and did an interview with Joni over the telephone, and she accepted me, and she said, to finish out where I was, which I did, and I went straight from there to Crossroad. And that was the best decision I have made, because I learned that it's not about religion, it's about a relationship. And my relationship with God has increased. My knowledge of the Bible has increased. I now have over, I think I have 5 Bibles, 5 different versions, because they're all different. And I remember when I came here, everybody was talking about their life verse, and I was like, I want a life verse. So Joni was like, well, just pray about it. So I did. And it was literally the next morning. I was walking in the hall, um, and a card fell on the floor right in front of my path. And this is my life verse. Your promise revives me, it comforts me in all my troubles. And that's Psalms 119:50. When I seek God, He hears me. He showed up. And He's changing so much about me, gaining courage that I never thought that I would have. I'm able to speak and do this. Years ago, you would never catch me in front of anybody telling my story. And although I have fear, I'm not consumed with the fear. I can, God gives me strength to see past that. He who is in me is greater than he who is in the world. That is another one of my favorites. God is working on me every day, and I'm open to Him working on me. I have a hope now that I never thought I'd have before. I never would have thought that I could live without alcohol or drugs. But now I can't imagine me living with it. I've grown. I almost don't even recognize myself today. I'm not who I was. I am renewed. And it's all because of Jesus. And I thank God He didn't give up on me. Because I know I sure did. Uh, I have joy in my heart today. I want to wake up. And before I never did. I was scared my whole life. I felt miserable, and now I feel joy. You know, I want better for my life, and I want better relationships. I strive to be a better person every day. Step out of myself. Maybe I can help somebody. Um, I will continue to pray because He does listen. Thank God He listens. Um, yes. If my kids, if I never see them or talk to them again, at least I know that the generational curse has been broken. I do pray that I see them though.